Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new podcast. Today, we are going to discuss the topic of fasting according to the teachings of Imam Al Ghazali and explain it in his book, The Beginnings of Guidance, Bidayat al Hidayah. And he, in fact, explains and teaches us a few things that we could say that are intended for whoever wants to go a little bit extra, meaning that wants to cultivate such qualities such as piousness and devotion, meaning that there are things that are required in the religion, but according to Imam Al Ghazali, in order to achieve the state of the angels, as we discussed in the previous podcast, which means the highest level, then you have to do extra things. These are called supererogatory acts, meaning that these are things that are not required, but someone could choose to do them because of devotion, because of piousness, because he wants to reach the highest levels. We just explained these three levels before. The level of the angels, that he explains, the level of man, we could say, which is the middle level, which is the expectation, what is required in religion from the believer. And then you have lower level than this, which is the level of animals, the level of inanimate things. And he said, if you cannot attain the level of angels, which is the highest of levels, which is the level of very, very pious individuals who want to purify themselves to such an extent that they become like saints and role models, figures for others to imitate. He says, if you cannot attain that level, at least remain in the middle level, which is the level of man, which is the level of what is required and expected from the regular believer. Just to be safe, he says. Now, regarding fasting, in his book, he says the following, and I would like to quote a few paragraphs, and let's capture the thought of Imam Al Ghazali and his recommendations regarding fasting. He says the following: you should not restrict yourself to fasting in Ramadan and omit the business of supererogatory works and of gaining the higher degrees in paradise, so that you have regrets when you look at those who fast and see them in the very highest degrees, as if you were looking at a bright star far above you. The excellent days, the traditions bear witness to their excellence and honor, and to the generous reward for fasting on them, are the day of Arafah, the 9th Dhul Hijjah, for those not making the pilgrimage, the day of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram, the first 10 days of the month Dhul Hijjah, and the first 10 of Muharram, Rajab, and Sha'ban. Excellent also is the fast of the sacred months, namely Dhul Qada, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, Rajab. Of these, one is by itself and three adjoining one another. These are the days in the course of the year. In the course of the month, the days of fasting are the first, the midmost, and the last, together with the white days, namely the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th, in the course of the week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The sins of the week are atoned for by fasting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the sins of the month by fasting on the first, midmost, and last days of the month, and the sins of the year by fasting on the days and months mentioned. When you fast, do not imagine that fasting is merely abstaining from food, drink, and marital intercourse. Muhammad, God bless and preserve him, has said, many a one who fasts has nothing from his fasting save hunger and thirst. Rather, perfect fasting consists in restraining all the members from what God Most High disapproves. You must keep the eye from looking at things disapproved, the tongue from uttering what does not concern you, and the ear from listening to what God has forbidden, for the hearer shares the guilt of the speaker in cases of backbiting. Exercise the same restraint over all the members as over the stomach and genitals. A tradition runs, 5 things make a man break his fast: lying, backbiting, malicious gossip, the lustful glance, and the false oath. Muhammad, God bless and preserve him, said, fasting is a protection. If one of you is fasting, let him avoid obscene speech, loose living, and folly. And if anyone attacks him or insults him, let him say, I am fasting. Then endeavor to break your fast with lawful food, and do not take an excessive amount, eating more than you normally eat at night because you are fasting by day. If you take the whole amount you usually take, there is no difference between eating it at 1 meal at night and eating it at 2 meals, one by day and one by night, as when one is not fasting. The aim in fasting is to oppose your appetites and to double your capacity for works of piety. If then you eat food equal to what has passed from you, you have thereby made up for what has passed from you, and there is no advantage in your fast. While in addition you find your stomach oppressive, there is no vessel more hateful to God than a stomach full of lawful food. What then if what fills it is unlawful? So when you have understood what it means to fast, do so as much as you can, for it is the foundation of the devotional practices and the key of good works. The messenger of God, God bless and preserve him, said, God Most High said, every good deed is rewarded by from 10 to 700 like deeds, except fasting, for that is mine, and I myself reward it. Muhammad, God bless and preserve him, said, by him in whose hand is my soul, the smell of the mouth of one who fasts is found more fragrant by God than the scent of musk. God, may he be exalted and glorified, says, should one give up appetite and food and drink for my sake, then the fast is mine, and I myself reward it. Muhammad, God bless and preserve him, said, Paradise has a gate called Ar-Rayyan, the Beautiful, by which none enters save those who fast. This is sufficient treatment of the duties which constitute the beginning of guidance. If you want a discussion of almsgiving and the pilgrimage, or a fuller treatment of the worship and fasting, you might consult what we have said in our work on the revival of the religious sciences. I think this is a very, very powerful statement regarding fasting. These paragraphs clearly emphasize on the importance of doing that which is extra, supererogatory acts. He says you should fast not only in Ramadan, you should in the other fasting days. You have to practice it even throughout the week. There are certain days that people usually fast, and these are the days that Imam Al Ghazali is recommending. It's not obligatory, and like many traditions are not obligatory. Whoever wants to do them is excellent, and that's commendable. I mean, someone should indeed get praise because he's doing something extra of what he's commanded to do. And whoever does not do them, okay, he shouldn't be criticized neither. But for those who want to engage in such acts of devotion and piousness, supererogatory acts, is going the extra mile, then he's clearly expounding before us which are the days for fasting, and then he's explaining for us how are we supposed to fast? He's saying fasting is one of the most important things, because not only it cultivates your character, it's a gate to enter paradise, he's saying. And when you fast, then when night comes and you break your fast, you are not supposed to eat like if you have missed the whole day and eat like without end. No, he's saying that's if you do that, you're clearly going against the very reason why you are fasting. You are not fasting for then at night to eat like never before. No, he said if you eat at night what you miss during the day, what's the point? The point is to subjugate and to duplicate and to have control over your body and also over your mind, because this requires a lot of discipline to fast, to discipline your mind and to discipline your body. And that's why he's saying, when you eat and you break your fast, just eat what is necessary. Don't eat until you get full that you cannot even move. That's not the point. And this is very, very interesting, because I have found the same teachings all over the great philosophers and great thinkers of the three monotheistic religions. As you know, I'm a history major and a religious major, and we have to deal and study these other religions, and my expertise is the three monotheistic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Islamic studies that we are now developing in this channel. And I have found in the teachings of great philosophers, for example, such as Maimonides, who is even studied up to this day in the academies, that Maimonides teaches that when you eat, you should not eat until you get full. No, you should leave a space in your stomach, and then that's even good, because it helps the stomach to even move and digest the food. You cannot load the stomach with more than what is required. And you are not simply eating just to get full, you are eating just to stay alive and to get the strength, the energy to serve your God. You're not here to just gain pleasure, and that's the purpose of fasting. Fasting, you are depriving yourself of physical pleasure, in this case from eating, just to be able to perfect your worship in your service to God, towards God. And this is very, very important thing that, as I mentioned, is emphasized by the greatest minds, not only in Islam but also in Judaism and in Christianity also. And I think this is very, very important advice, and that all the great minds and thinkers of the past, they all agree in regarding to the importance of fasting, the proper way to do it, and the benefits of doing it. In future podcasts, we are going to continue with more regarding the advices of Imam Al Ghazali, and we will talk about the avoidance of sins, and he clearly enumerates a few things that he thinks are really should really be avoided, among sins, but he clearly emphasizes that whoever does such things, for example, like backbiting, lying, and similar things, he like cursing and these kind of things, he tries to teach us how to educate and subjugate not only our mind but also our tongue. And this is very, very important. We will go in detail more about this topic in the next podcast. As always, I want to thank you so much for your attention. And if you found this audio, this material, this information useful, please share it with your friends, relatives, share it on social media, WhatsApp, everywhere. Thank you so much, and we'll see each other in future podcasts and future videos in which we will continue to develop on the history, philosophy, and the Islamic thought. Thank you so much, and see you next time.